in the days to come as people scramble to figure out what happened. How did we miss this geologically? Over time, as time continues, when the roads buckle, when people can't travel on the highways because of the heat, when they don't understand the winds, and the coastlines are super eroded, when everyone is fearful of the rain, and when it turns poisonous and everybody seeks shelter indoors, men will ask themselves, where did we go wrong? As it continues, as it wears down mankind, they'll say, God has forsaken us. Don't you believe that for a minute? See, there's a time coming, the Lord said, when even the righteous will begin to think to themselves that God has abandoned them, that He no longer cares. And the Lord said, in that time, it'll happen. In the time when people say God no longer cares, it's going to happen.
Welcome to the WTF Files. The ultimate aim of all science, to penetrate the unknown. The greatest mystery is right here, right under our feet. These are the stories that will make you say, WTF.
In the time of the Exodus, something came to this earth. The descriptions are clear. It was solid, transparent, not solid, and it was under orders. See, that's hard for people to believe. That's almost like talking about angels. That word angel means messenger. Do you guys know the destroyer is described, and it said in the old documents, men made a mistake back then, and they thought it was like any other star that would follow all the physics and everything else. They had made a grave error. They said, this thing is not like a star, it's not like the moon, it's not like a planet. This thing is under somebody's charge. And that's why when it came around, people said, hey, cast away all your false gods and everything else and cry for mercy from the God above. And then they built monuments that we could decipher today to tell our children's children about the thing. To give up earthly goods, forsake these earthly goods and save the soul. They knew it was coming. See, it was a big conversion back then. A big one. The Vatican has a device. The U.S. or the world, international communities have another device. And the Vatican's device is maintained by a global community, by all governments. So with these other devices, they work hand in hand. It is said that a person cannot look upon that object. They have to indirectly view the object. If they look at the object, they'll likely die of fright. So I'm going to ask you something. How can you look at a star or something that looks like the sun and die of fright? Now that seems outlandish. That seems wild, right? It does. It seems that can never happen. That's crazy. That's nuts. Then why would you have a telescope that's kept in secret? Whatever they find is kept in secret for so long. I guarantee you it's not because they've seen life on other worlds. No one cares about that. Everybody's already prone to accept that to a degree. But if they were able to see something that was so far outside of what people expected, well, then you would have an issue, right? For example, I'm going to talk about some of the conditions that you'll see on this earth very soon. I can't even stress that enough. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's almost like there's nothing I can say to get a person to see a very simple truth, right? Because sometimes we get so prideful in certain subjects, and we're drawn by a long conversation with a bunch of data points. We're drawn by evidence. And it's very difficult to go through that, right? So people like me who have an involvement in specific things try to bring up certain conversations that are weird, but they eventually take place. But they're weird. They're outside of the norm. They're what nobody else was calling for, right? A person like myself will do that on purpose to let you know that there's elements that you're going to have to deal with that no one can calculate. People who are looking at Landsat data were taken back, last week at some of the things that were happening to the Earth. They don't understand it. It's not happening in a way that they ever thought possible. The geological events are taking place and shifts and movements are taking place that those who study Landsat data are taken back. They just cannot. They went so far as to recheck the equipment to make sure that, there were no anomalies up there. But we're having geological changes that do not fit the current model of what the Earth is. It's not happening according to what they think the Earth is. It's just not. That should give us a great hint, a big hint, that we cannot trust. You can't trust this empirical data that people have. It's going to fail them every single time. For example, there are about 5 or 6 objects in space of huge, enormous size. They are very close to our location called Earth, right? But which one, or if any of them, which one is going to interact with Earth? Is it them or is it something else?
When I first heard this story about Planet X, and I read Hazelwood's book, one of the first things I did was approach a friend of mine who has privileged access to certain government agencies. And I said, "Can you check this out? I'd appreciate it." He said, "I never heard of it, but I'll check it out." He got back with me a couple of weeks later and he says, "John, it's a real thing. They've been watching this thing for more than 20 years. It's out there. They got the Hubble watching it. They got all this instrumentation keeping track of it. It's got a 250,000-mile debris field on either side of it." When I say a debris field, I mean rocks the size of pickup trucks and rocks the size of Rhode Island. Big rocks and little rocks. It's traveling in a cloud of red dust, which means when we finally are able to see it, it'll probably duplicate what was seen by ancient peoples as being a red cross in the sky. The red dust will refract the light and make it appear to be a red cross in the sky.
These are going to be desperate days as far as men's decisions, what a person must do. Now, can they be good for those who are washed by the blood? Here's what the Lord said. The Lord said the world's going to have a rough time, right? But for his elect, if they stay their minds upon Christ, he'll always intercede. And though they will see those things, they will not perish by those things. Do you guys have that? A lot of people don't want to see anything. It's too late. You've seen a lot of it already. A lot. There are developing conditions that you're going to see with your eyes. The more they happen, the more we'll discuss them. Not the facts about them, but the language behind it. You'll quickly begin to see things go a different direction than what you suspected. Man will be surprised and caught off guard. They're not going to be prepared. And when you see air travel decline and the borders shut down for real, then you'll know. You'll know what you never knew before. But knowing, that's not going to save you. Only the Messiah can do that. Folks, I hope this conversation helps somebody tonight. We'll continue the next time I talk. God bless each and every one of you. It's always an honor and a pleasure. You guys hang in there and go further. Go further.
These are the WTF Files. Subscribe today and be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Thank you for watching the WTF Files.